Hey, you guys, this is Christina with Leads and Leverage, and I am here with you for part 2 of what to do during your lead generation time. I want to make sure that you guys know, like, you actually have a plan that when you sit down to lead generate, you know what you're going to do, that you're not sitting there straightening your pens and organize your desk and know you're supposed to be doing something and maybe make some phone calls and maybe make one or two, and you just have this time that you're not using well and you're not leveraging well. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Part 1 we did yesterday. Today is part 2. I'm not sure how many parts there are. We're talking about a lot of stuff today, and I would love it if you guys would please let me know that you're here. I actually need to open this up in a second window so that I can see your questions, see your comments, and know that you guys are here. So please say hi. Let me know you guys are here. We're going to talk about, today we're going to review just a tiny bit about yesterday, and then we're actually going to dive into the in real life stuff today. We're going to get to all of it. We talked about, open houses, networking events, cold calling, door knocking, buyer seminars, when you're at conferences, expired and FSBO prospecting, snail mail, farming, online, so Facebook, the web, messenger, email. We're going to talk about all of those, but not all today because that's a lot to talk about. So we're going to talk about most of the in real life stuff today. Please comment, please say hi. Let me know where you are joining from. I love to know where you guys are from. I like to look at different areas. Yeah, I'm the proverbial, what are houses like in that area? So I kind of look at that. No, I didn't get into real estate 50 billion years ago so that I could show houses. That's like the last thing I wanted to do, but I sure like looking at them myself. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, we're going to talk about what you need to be doing during your lead generation. And the very first thing that I want to review, I really want to just hone in on this, because we forget, all business owners of all industries forget what we're actually in the business, or in what our business actually is. Our business is not helping people buy and sell houses. It's not our business. Our business is building our list. We need to lead generate. We need to build our list. So we always need to go into everything that we're doing during our lead generation time focused on, will this build my list? And it's really great if it will both build your list and nurture your list. But your top 2 priorities are to build your list and nurture your list, and everything else comes after that. All that other stuff, all those contracts, all that everything else, that comes after that. Doesn't mean it's not important by any means, because clearly if you don't get through the contracts, you don't get to the closing table. You don't get through that stuff. However, if you don't build your list, you're not even going to get to the contracts. If you don't nurture your list, you're not going to get to the contracts. So you have an order of priority that you should be running your business. And there's that. So number 1 is build your list. Number 2 is nurture your list. We're going to talk about exactly what to do during your real estate lead generation time. I know that a lot of people, a lot of agents, we're nervous to actually block out that time because we're just not quite sure what to do. I mean, we know, like, make calls and follow up, but if we're brand new in the business, or if we're in the famine part of our business, or like, who do we call? Or who do we follow up with? Or I'm not going to do things randomly, or I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. That's a common one. I don't know what to say, etc. So we're going to talk through that today. So please tell me hi. Please, guys. Hi, Maura. Say hi, you guys. I would love it. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive specifically into, I'm going to start with open houses. So whether or not you do open houses, we're going to start, and we want to turn them into a lead generating opportunity for you. We're not going to, why on earth would you do an open house if you were 100% positive that you were going to be able to generate leads? Why? Because we can't fall prey to that whole, if I do an open house so I can sell the house, it doesn't. We know it doesn't. That once in a blue moon, it actually sells the house that you're holding open to somebody who walks in to see it. We might do it to appease the sellers, which, by the way, you should not be running your business based on appeasement of your sellers. You should be serving your sellers and doing the best for them. Holding an open house is not always the best for them. So that's a whole nother thing. But Open houses. There are some areas, some people, some agents, some markets that just rock the open houses. But how do you actually generate leads? So many people are like, well, how do I get them? Usually when people come in, they say things like, well, I'm already working with somebody, or, we look for these fancy little pieces of paper that people will sign up. What can I give away to get people to sign up? What can we do? How can we do that? Yada, yada, yada. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to start off with that today. Hi, Dave, Middleborough, Massachusetts. Hello, Martha. Hi, Millie. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Pam. Hi, Barb. You guys are awesome. I love being on with you guys. Thank you for joining me. I'm curious, do you guys, everybody that's here, if you're watching this in replay, you can even answer the question. Just let me know that you're in replay. Would you do me a favor and let me know, do you guys hold open houses? Is that part of your marketing plan, or is that part of your business itself? Do you consistently hold open houses? I know some people who do, and I know others who don't. We did not. People would we would have agents on our team. If they wanted to hold an open house, they could, but as a whole, we did not. Dave says yes. Anyone else? Millie does. So you guys, there are several things you can do. You can make your open houses as, I guess, complicated or as crazy as you want to make them, or you can make them simple. There's a couple things that you want to keep in mind when you're thinking about holding an open house for lead generation. Remember, we're focusing on lead generation. So Mara says, I'm not good at converting any leads. Oh, you're going to get good, Mara. Millie says sometimes. Pam says yes. Barb doesn't anymore. Marianne says no. Kate says yes. Vicky says yes. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Stella says hi. Hi, John. So here's the thing you want to think about. When we did hold an open house, there's a few elements that we looked at. Number one, we would pick a house that was high traffic as possible. Don't pick a house that has 50,000 curves and street corners from a main road that's so hidden off the beaten path, it's hard to get people down there. So you want to pick a house that is in a place where people are going to see it. They're going to see the signs, okay? So that's number one. Kate is the queen of captured open houses. That's awesome. So you want to pick one that's got visibility, flat out. The second thing, I strongly suggest that you hold open houses in one of two different times. The first one is during rush hour, when people are on their way to and from lunch or to and from home. So that's because you have more traffic. People might just stop on the way, etc., before they get somewhere else. That's one. Two, when most other open houses are held in your area. So if most open houses are held on a Sunday, between 2 and 4, and people go out and look at open houses, you want to hold yours then. So if you hold it on a Saturday and everybody goes out looking at open houses on Sunday, you're going to have a lower turnout. So there's those pieces. You want to make sure that you're doing it when people are actually out, and you've got a house that people can see, like physically, they'll see the signs, they'll want to stop. Now, there's a lot of other things that you can do. There's so many things, but you want to keep it, if you're going to be doing this every single week or even a couple times, you want to make sure that you are doing things to get people to be there. So I know we talk about Facebook, and I know we talk about promoting on Facebook. You totally could. You could create an event and you could push that event out through Power Editor. You could push that event out as an ad. Here are the downfalls with that. If you don't already have a targeted audience that you're targeting, meaning their page likes are targeted and they're local to your area, or an audience in your ads manager or Power Editor that you're running ads to, it's going to be harder to fine tune that in the beginning. Second of all, it takes 3 to 7 days, usually about 5 to 7 days, for an ad to actually get out into the algorithm. And we don't actually want to run an open house ad that long, that far in advance. Okay, so that's a downfall with short run ads like that. What you can do is you can really beef up your Facebook business page and get it a lot of activity, and you can actually create an event and then share that event with your personal sphere on your personal profile and push it out to your community, your page like audience. You can set it out to your email list, things like that. So that will help get it out there. Now, at the same time, that's still just kind of awareness. It's not very targeted. You'll find as you grow your list, as you're building your list and you grow it, it will be much easier for you to get attendance at an open house or to get a property sold, etc. Because you've got a list that you've been nurturing of people who are buyers and sellers at different times in their life. And so that's where we are at now. All we have to do is email our list. So, or all our family has to do is email their list for listings and for sales. So that's where you're going for. You're going for that kind of list when you're building. When you're at an open house, there's so many different ways to capture leads, capture people at open houses. You can do giveaways. Make sure they're stinking good. You can also obviously give away food, but the thing is people don't know you have food. But you can figure out ways to do that. You can promote it on your personal profile. Make sure you put it on your page first, then push over to your personal profile so you don't abuse the whole don't use a personal profile for commercial stuff. You can, one of the things that when we ran open houses, it was more like when we got a listing and we were going to have a broker's open combined with an open house, we would literally send snail mail. You can actually door knock if you want. We would do snail mail to the 10 houses, either side, both sides of the street of that property. Now, obviously, there are properties that doesn't work with. So maybe not an ideal property to have an open house if there's not surrounding homes, but you can send stuff out. Neighbors are curious. Yes, you want the neighbors because people tend to influence their neighborhood. They influence their friends move closer to them. Their family moves closer to them. You want the neighbors there being curious and being nosy Nellies. You want them at those open houses. You want to give away things of value, offering them a CMA or home staging coupon or blather. That's not really value. Everybody offers it, etc. Do a giveaway. Do a drawing of some sort that they could give in, or enter, and then make sure when you take their information that you're actually following up with them. If they don't give a phone number, obviously don't call them, but put them on a snail mail list or an email list where you're nurturing your list. You're providing value. When I say providing value, I mean things that are relevant and understandable and contextual for the people on your list. What does that mean? It means that if you're going to do something as mundane as stats, do one stat and explain what the heck it means for their house. Like if you have a stat of days on market, you can go, well, we're at 30 days on market right now. We were at 60 days on market. That means blah, blah, blah. That's not enough of an explanation. They're like, what does that mean? What does days on market actually mean? And you need to explain that to them. You need to say, well, it actually means from the date that it goes live in the MLS or the date that the contract is signed, wherever your MLS does it, however their contract with you guys is, because it's different in different markets, but it's from when it's signed to when it actually got an offer on it, or depending. So like some go to pending, some go to contingent, some actually get close in that time frame. What does that mean? What does it mean? And why is it a good thing or a bad thing? It can be both if the days on market shorten or if the days on market lengthen. What's it good? Who's that better for? Buyer or seller? You need to explain that to them. And if you don't understand all that yourself, you need to learn. This is what you need to be learning, not script objections or not what to say to capture. It's like literally when you know your market, when you know the data, when you can explain it in layman's terms so that they understand, you've got them. That's how you capture people. You teach them, you educate them, you go on the journey with them. So that's a lot on that, but you want to have any way that they can give you their information, but you need to give them something of value in exchange. Okay. Tell me, especially from Kate, queen of capturing at open houses, what do you do that works really well for you? I would love to know. Anyone else? What have you done at open house that surprised you that it worked? What have you done to promote an open house? There's so many things. Like I said, there is an agent in the Boise area that specializes in mid-century modern homes. And what he does is once a month, he does a caravan or he rents a bus. He rents a bus and he invites anybody who's interested in MCM homes to come look at the 3 newest MCM homes that are on the market that month, or the 3 top. I don't remember which one he does. And it doesn't matter if they're going to write an offer or not. They actually do it like as as a thing, but he leverages other people's open houses. And sometimes his house is on this thing, but they go look at all the different houses. He takes them around and shows them. That's one way you could do it. I've seen so many different ways, but what's a really easy way? The easy way is to make sure you're in a high traffic location, that you're doing it during a time that traffic is going by, and that you have stuff to give them that's valuable in exchange for their contact information. And don't like hold it here and go, I'll give you this if you give me that. No, like just say, hey, we're giving away $100, make it worth it, you guys. $100 gift certificate to XYZ if you enter here for everybody who comes to the open house, or the seller's giving it away, or whatever. Partner with a lender to do that kind of stuff, so you don't have to carry that expense. But what do you guys do? I'm not seeing your comments now. Like I saw tons of comments, and then I'm not seeing your guys' comments now. So hopefully you guys are hearing this and seeing this, and you've got some input on this. So then let's go to, I'll answer more questions. Yeah. Kate says, I typically chat with people and find some common ground. And as we are chatting, if we establish a report, then that's what you do. That's absolutely, instead of like hitting them with, hey, you want to buy or sell? Are you working with an agent? Blah, blah, blah. Have a conversation with them, like a general conversation. Like, what do you like about this neighborhood? Or what's your favorite neighborhood? I mean, there's so many different things you could say. If they have kids with them, oh, what grade are they in? How old are they? How many do you have? You know, just there's so many different things you can do just to like be genuine. You need to be genuine though. So if you're really like totally not interested in kids, you know, you're like, don't bring them up. Talk about something else that you might do. Okay, more ideas for giveaways. Oh gosh, you can do gift baskets. You can do people like going out. So if you have local sports games that people like, if you have obviously restaurants, if you have performing arts, things like that, concerts, things like that, you could do drawings for that. Now, don't make it so crazy where the drawing is like, every open house I have in the first 6 months of this year, I'm going to give away this. Don't do that. Like, don't. Just count this as part of your marketing, and have a lender split it with you, or have a lender donate it. A lot of times, like, we can give away rounds of golf here because title companies have memberships to different private golf clubs. And so they can actually give out tickets for that, or golf passes, or whatever they are. I don't golf, so whatever it is, rounds of golf to things like that. There's other things. So there's different ways they can do it, because it's not going to you and how they do it. Make sure you're in RESPA, all the RESPA code, etc. If you don't want to have to deal with that, just do your own thing. Let's see. Yes, it has to absolutely be genuine. Kate, yeah, they do see it through a sales pitch. So I need some good ideas as I'm going to start doing open houses big time for the next 6 months. All kinds of stuff. I mean, you can do door knocking around the open house before the open house. You can give, in fact, what you could do is you could say, hey, I'm holding an open house at this time, but 30 minutes before, I'm doing a private sneak peek to neighbors only. And I've got some freebies and giveaways, or I mean, like, say what you have. I've got different things for you if you want to do that. And so have them send them a card that's their early entrance, a VIP entrance, or something like that, just a postcard, and tell them to bring that. They'll have their name and address on it, so you'll know who came. So there's things like that. You can connect those, or you can collect those. Oh goodness, what else? You can give away everybody who comes in. You could give away candy bars or whatever. The goal is to get people there. So I still would do Facebook events. I would still push it out. I would put it on my business page. I would push it to my personal profile. Putting ad spend behind it though, because it's such a short time frame, that's where you're going to run into some issues. It's not going to really get out into the algorithm unless you dump $100 into it. And then Facebook's going to like push it out, and it doesn't matter who it goes to. They're going to spend your money to push it out because that's what you want. So be careful with ad spend on short run ads. Yes, exactly, Dave. And invite people like you would to a party. Like I said, you could even invite your list. Once you build your email list, you could invite your list as VIP. Say, I'm having an open house at this time. However, you get VIP entrance. Have swag bags. Like, we have little swag bags for people. We have swag bags for you. And it could be anything. It could be, you could have, there's just some things that are kind of funny that I have seen in swag bags. I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. So I went to an event, and they gave a little, it was like a little conference thing, and they gave a little swag bag. And there was things like I'm sorry, it was a meeting that I was at, and there was like 20 of us, and we had little swag bags that had like cough drops in it. It had little Kleenexes and pins and Post-its and a Band-Aid, all the little things that you might need during that thing. So be creative and think of your way. What are little things you could give away? And don't give away logo stuff. I mean, you could put a logo pen or something in, but don't make it all logo stuff. But do give things like that away. Totally. You could have the title company give a bottle. You could have a lender give notepads. You could have this whole little swag bag and actually put it in bags for people, not lay it out, like put it in bags and give it. Thanks for coming, etc. And then when you just give without any expectation of return, then you do the drawing. So let people know you've got swag. Can you do a video on Facebook spent ads? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it, oh, I don't know how to spell your name. Milagro? I'm sorry, please. Can you phonetically put that out so I know how to say your name? Or is it Vincent? Which one of you is that? And I'm not sure what you mean when you say, can you do a video on Facebook spent ads? Excuse me. Milagro, awesome. So there's so many ideas, you guys, for open houses. Door knocking. Here's a big one. We did farming. So this is part of the farming. This is actually under the farming one. We did farming. And one of the things we did geographic and demographic. And one of the things we would do for geographic farms is we didn't actually door knock. We would get those clear door handle bags. So they're like this, like you can't see me, but they're like this big, and they have, they're clear. We would put in it some candy. Typically it was a piece of candy and then a postcard. And usually the postcard was just a push to get them to join our community Facebook page at the time, which now I would say a group, but community, join our community on Facebook. And so that is literally what we did. And I had my kids, I would drive the van and the kids would run to the doors and hang them on the doors. And every single time, we would do it every 2 weeks for a while, for 8 times. But that's what we would do as far as door knocking. We would give them that. And then some of those postcards had a question answer. And it wasn't things like, you know, what's your home worth? It was things like, what do they need to know when they're brand new to the neighborhood? Or here's how to transfer your, we lived in a waterfront neighborhood and there was a private park and a private beach, and there was a private key card for all of that. And it was like how to transfer it, the contact information for the HOA, how to do this kind of stuff, because you had to go through the HOA to do all that. And so we would do things like that for homeowners in our area. Those were little things they'd stick on their fridge because it was like, oh yeah, if I ever want to transfer this, if I need a replacement key, where do my guests park, things like that. When they're down there, can my guests go down there without me? You know, with all these kinds of things, like things that we forget because they're in our HOA bylaws or whatever they're called, CCNRs, whatever they are. So they're all in there. So that was the kinds of things that we would give out. In addition to things that were going on, some new changes. There was some new stuff being built around our neighborhood. People wanted to know what was going on. We let them know. That was the whole point, was to keep them informed. And every single time we gave them candy. We always gave them candy. We gave them a little candy bar. We bought the little mini like chocolate bars and stuff because there was 482 owner-occupied homes in our neighborhood, 542 total with extra land and stuff like that. So that was, you know, we would do that every 2 weeks. So for 8 weeks, or for 8 times, excuse me. So that's one of the ways you can give stuff to get people to another place. If they will go to your Facebook page, you can connect, you can collect them as an audience. If you have a giveaway that you want to give them, or maybe a download of the CCNRs or the HOA PDF, stuff like that, you can actually have them go to a landing page. Right? You're going to do your farm door knocking, go to a landing page. And then number one, you can pixel that landing page. And I know I'm talking beyond for a lot of you, but you can pixel that landing page, which creates an audience. So you know who's there, whether they opt in or not. Then if they opt in, you email them the PDF of whatever it is that you're giving away. The CCNRs, things like that. So there's so many different ways, but the key here is that I want you to always look at everything you're doing from the perspective of, how am I going to generate a lead? What is working for me? What's not working for me? What can I change? What can I do differently? Doesn't mean you need to be more creative. It means you need to look at it from the perspective of, I need to generate leads. So during your lead generation time, now obviously you're not going to sit an open house during your lead generation time, but during your lead generation time, that's when you're going to be making those contacts and connections to get people to those open houses, or you're going to be creating and putting together the pieces that you're going to put out to the neighbors in the neighborhood if you're going to do door knocking and farming and things like that. So that's what you'll want to do with that. And when you get people from offline to go to something that you have online, whether it's a page on your website, whether it's your Facebook business page, it doesn't matter. As long as they go to that page and they, like for your business page, as long as they click on something or look at something, Facebook will create a page engagement audience for you. And then you can run Facebook ads to that audience. And if they go to a certain page on your website, you can use the pixeling, and then you can run Facebook ads to people who visit that page on your website. So that is how you're going to like pull in the outside in, or the offline online. And I just really clearly, I want you guys to realize you're building your list and nurturing your list. So you want to make sure that everything you do is about capturing the lead. If you're going to do, so open houses, door knocking, if you're going to, I'm trying to think of what else I could talk about today with these. If you're going to go to a networking event like BNI, or I'm going to write this down so I know I've talked about it so I don't do the same thing another day here. If you're going to go to a networking event, if you're going to, I don't know, go to a chamber event, or if you're going to go to BNI or the TIP or any other women in business or any of that other stuff, if you're going to go to them, go to one, you need to go with the perspective of capturing a lead, not pushing your name out there. So you need to go from that perspective, number one. Number two, you would need to go from the perspective of, I am going to help. So whomever I meet, I'm going to see what I can do to help them. That will take you more along the process of actually getting a lead than trying to push your name out there and get exposure or get as many business cards out as possible. The best question you can ever ask anyone is, what's your number one struggle right now? What are you struggling with most in your business? As a stay-at-home mom, as a stay-at-home dad, in your workplace, in your volunteerism, in your retirement community, in your, I don't know, in your, you don't necessarily want to get into the whole family thing, but with your pets. I mean, if people like pets, whatever it is that they hold passionate and dear to them, if you ask them what their number one struggle is, and you genuinely would listen, you genuinely want to know, and you want to see if there's a way you can help them, that's going to pay you huge dividends. And so when you do this with open houses, when you do this with your door knocking, and you do this at events, huge and powerful for you. If you come from a place of service, it's going to change everything. Come from a place of service, but know that your number one priority is to build your list. Your number two priority is to nurture your list. All right, you guys? So I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this today because my internet was down for about an hour and a half. We've got some really heavy rain, and whoever it is, Spectrum, Time Warner, was pouty today, I guess. I don't know. They went down during the middle of a training I was doing. Any other questions for today? Tomorrow or the next day we're going to get on. We're going to talk about anything between cold calling, buyer seminars, conferences, Facebook, websites, messenger, email, snail mail, expired, FISBOs. We're going to talk about all of those and what you're actually should be doing during your lead generation to make them lead generation focused, not just things that you do with your time. You want to be lead generation focused. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to give up your precious time. You want to get leads from it. All right. Any last minute questions? Not seeing any? Okay, so if you guys will ask questions in the comments, even when I'm done, we'll come back and answer them. And I will keep doing this. I think I'm probably going to do it every day for the next couple days until we get through all of these, until you guys know at the end of this, we're going to walk through and kind of give you an ideal, here's what to do during your lead generation time, like exactly what to do. But I want you guys to kind of go through first and get ideas from what you're already doing. So if you're already doing something, don't do something different. Just tweak it so it works better for you. All right, you guys, have a fabulous afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow.